Swallowed Star 501 Night Investigation. Chapter 501, Night Investigation. Close to 1,000 people with various attributes such as people with expensive clothes, or strong auras, or those who were cold and proud, and the cloud-level guests of the Flying Cloud Pavilion along with those suspected of being a mysterious powerful warrior were present there. Luo Feng looked far ahead amongst the crowd. The Flying Cloud Pavilion owner was at the side discussing with a tall and sturdy intrepid-looking general by the side. Luo Feng could feel from his aura that the general should be a universe level 9. Rockwind General, they are all here. The owner said. Rockwind Zhan snorted through his nose, following which he gazed coldly at the crowd. Rockwind Zhan. Amongst the crowd, Luo Feng was happy after he heard it. He was still prepared to figure out how this Rockwind Zhan looked like, so as not to attack the wrong person. And now he could see him clearly. Last night, which one of you broke into the Pure Feather family mansion? Rockwind Zhan shouted coldly. The group of close to 1,000 unknown people remained silent, not making any sound at all. And Rockwind Zhan, who sat high above on his green-armored snake, gazed at everyone below. Suddenly he pointed at a black-robed cold-looking man in the distance, shouting, "That black-robed bastard, bring him along later." Yes. The two deputy generals at the side complied. General. The black-robed cold-looking man's expression grew ugly, shouting, "General, I'm from the Luanyang area. Don't give me rubbish." Rockwind Zhan laughed coldly. With your strength and your dressing, I have no choice but to suspect that you were the culprit who broke into the Pure Feather family mansion. That tall punk with messy hair, bring him too, that skinny punk hiding at the side too. You. Him. The one in the white robe. That blue-haired one. Rockwind Zhan continuously chose 10 people. These 10 were all very strong as most of them were in the pinnacle sky level. There were even 2 universe levels. And that black-haired youth, his strength is strong enough too. Bring him. Rockwind Zhan pointed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng frowned as there were no scanning devices in Blood River World. They based their deductions purely on energies and auras. As for Luo Feng, he used his willpower and consciousness strength to control and hide his strength, deliberately releasing one that of a pinnacle star level. He didn't expect to still get chosen. All right. A total of 58 have been chosen. The culprit might very likely be within these 58. Take them all away back to the prison. Rockwind Zhan waved his hand. Luo Feng didn't resist and followed the other 57 with the army. In terms of strength, Luo Feng knew that he could easily wipe out Rockwind Zhan and the others. Because of his confidence and this guarantee, he was very relaxed. Until the critical moment, there was no need to massacre so many of them publicly. What's up with this General Rockwind? Is this how they catch a killer? Coming over to our Flying Cloud Pavilion to find a group of guests and randomly picking from a crowd, that's called finding a killer? You idiot, Rockwind General is from the Rockwind family. The Pure Feather family was humiliated, hence the Rockwind family are all extremely happy. Why would they seriously look for the culprit? If they really wanted to look for him, they would have begun their search last night. Why would they wait till now? It's purely just for show, just an act. However, the 58 sure are unlucky. Within Flying Cloud Pavilion, many were discussing. Swallow Mound City, General's Prison. Luo Feng and the others were forced into groups of 5 or 6, and were separately crammed into cells. These cells were built by special stones from Blood River World, and were able to exist under the universe energy flows and strong gravity here. Hence, these two were more sturdy than other stones. They were strong enough to block attacks from even a sky-level, star-level warrior. We sure are unlucky. I have to go meet my family leader tomorrow. How can this be good? Luo Feng's cell had a total of 6 people, of which a fat one dressed in expensive clothes sighed and shouted loudly. The others from different cells all heard him clearly. Big trouble, big trouble. The fatty didn't stop sighing. Shut up. Smelly fatty, lower your voice. The people from other cells all began to jeer and shout within. The fatty looked outside at the soldiers approaching, raising his voice and sighing again. If I don't see the Wang family leader, my business would be ruined. I would incur huge losses. So unlucky, purely a disaster from above. After shouting a couple more times under the jeers from others, he finally stopped. Luo Feng stood silently within the cell, watching things unfold. Several of the guards and soldiers within the prison began to mutter. "Brothers, the general captured these 58 back for show. He didn't even interrogate them. He even sent a bodyguard over to tell me that after interrogating just a little, if there's no problem, just let some of them go and leave some in the prison. Everything is just for show." A guard said softly, "Did you hear that fatty shouting? He seems to be some sort of businessman and is in a rush to meet someone. We should get a hefty sum from him." It's an opportunity. After all, it's all just for show. It'll be fine with some of them gone." The group of guards watching the prison all began to laugh and mutter amongst themselves. After which they ordered, "Go and grab that fierce and shouting fatty and bring him over. We'll interrogate him well." "Yes, Lord." The group of soldiers immediately brought the fatty out. Within the prison, the fatty that was leaning against the door looking outside revealed a smile as he saw the group of soldiers running over. One of the soldiers ordered, "The Lord has ordered for us to interrogate you well, grab him." Following which they opened the door and grabbed the fatty. The fatty turned back to the other 5 in the cell and said, "Sirs, I'll be leaving first, see you all." Following which he followed the group of soldiers and left. After a while, a soldier ran over and shouted, "The Lord has interrogated him and found him not suspicious at all, he's been released. The rest of you 57 better answer properly. Those that don't, be prepared to stay in this prison for a while." Following which he turned and left. "The fatty has gone. Answer properly? What answer properly? Isn't it simply bribing them well? I know that fatty purposely shouted that way before. You know this only now? Stupid." Discussions and noise resounded within the cells. The guards who were hiding in the distance heard the discussions and all of them began to smile. They then ordered, "Bring them one by one, we'll interrogate them properly." Interrogate. It was simply just forking over a sum of money, just seeing whether it was enough. When they interrogated Luo Feng took out 1 purple blade currency, immediately making the guards' eyes gleam. Their attitudes immediately became friendly, and quickly released Luo Feng. Broad daylight, Luo Feng strolled out of the general's prison carefree, and followed the pathways out of the mansion. Evening, the sky had gone dark. Luo Feng, who was at a restaurant eating and drinking alone for a while, finally left and walked amongst a crowd in Swallow Mound City's pathways. "It's almost time. Last night I caught Pure Feather Chong. Then tonight I'll go catch Rock Wind Zhan." Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. "I'm really looking forward to the Blood River Crystal? Just what is it like? It is even mysterious enough to gain the attention of the Virtual Universe Company." As he had been brought to the general's prison earlier in the day, Luo Feng was very familiar with the general's mansion. It's no wonder the Rockwind family is considered a new upstart family. This general's mansion, in terms of security level, isn't even 1/10 of the Pure Feather family's. Luo Feng walked within the mansion. Almost like walking in his own yard, his silhouette floated about. With a flash he went from side to side, shaking his head. "I can feel a total of 3 universe-level warriors." With his familiarity of the universe space ripples, he could feel 3 strong auras. And one of which Luo Feng was familiar with because he had met him during the day. "It's Rock Wind Zhan." Luo Feng smiled. Shua. His silhouette floated swiftly, as he passed the fake mountains and the walkways, finally landing within a 3-story luxurious palace within the mansion. Breaking through to the domain level is so hard. I've done everything my big brother has told me to do in terms of training, and I've done them well. Why have I still not broken through? Big brother must definitely be afraid of me reaching the domain level and turning into a threat for him. Rock Wind Zhan was topless. He was wearing an open long robe. While walking along the stairs, he had many thoughts on his mind. When he reached the 3rd level, he casually looked up and prepared to enter his study. However, suddenly his body shook. His eyes were filled with a sense of disbelief. In front of him stood a simply dressed black-haired youth's silhouette. "You? Rock Wine Zhan immediately went into battle mode, simultaneously calling guards to help him. However, no matter how shocked he was still confident. He thought that because he was a cloud-level pinnacle, universe level 9 warrior, the person before him couldn't be much stronger than he was. Also, delaying a while would be enough for his big brother Rock Wind Xiong to rush over. Hua! Luo Feng, who was initially standing at the distant window, immediately appeared before Rock Wind Zhan in what seemed like teleportation. This was extremely fast, far exceeding that of a regular universe level 9's max speed. Chi! His hand formed a blade, fast as lightning. No, Rock Wine Zhan's hands had brandished a huge blade. He was prepared to use it as a shield to block. However, Luo Feng's palm blade was almost like an illusion, swiftly stabbing through his stomach, after which he pulled it out. Only after this did the shield slowly come. Everything was mysterious and like an illusion. There was just a simple flash. Illusionary 7 blades, Dutchman's pipe. With Luo Feng's strength in his domain and origin law comprehension, against such weak techniques with domain only level 1 or 2, no comprehension of any origin laws and only at universe level 9, it was simply a massacre. Aye. Rock Wind Zhan held onto his stomach. There was a blade wound there and fresh blood flowed out. It was purely from Luo Feng's palm blade. You! Rock Wine Zhan looked with fear at Luo Feng. His Dantian was destroyed. And his spirit was under the powerful pressure of Luo Feng's spirit energy. Hence, he couldn't even use any spirit energy now. How do you do, Rock Wind General? Luo Feng smiled and looked at Rock Wind Zhan. Rock Wind Zhan's mind flashed back at Flying Cloud Pavilion. That scene, right, this black-haired youth, wasn't he from the 58 people he had picked?